Just got doing all of our stretches and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
we're about to start warming up, maybe work up to 600 and kind of see where we're at.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, I got a special treat for y'all today. I'm training here with a long-time, lifetime buddy of mine, Michael Ho, right?
Yes,
Mike,
sir.
how you doing?
Sir. I'm chilling, man.
We're about to work out today, talk about life, talk about training, and just talk a little bit about adversity. Maybe grab something to eat after, all right?
Oh yeah. It's been way too long, man. I'm
Yes,
ready
sir.
for this session. That's smooth right there. Good shit. Good
All right,
shit, good
just
shit.
warming up. Me and Dr. Mike probably spend about an hour
Yeah.
stretching, making sure our back, our hips, and everything's warmed up.
Yo, I've been working out I was thinking about it on the way here. So I started when I was 16. I was a sophomore. So
And how old
I'm
are you
32.
now?
I'm 32. I turned 33 this year. So
Ooh.
it's been 16 years,
Yes,
man.
sir. Half of your life.
All right.
Congrats.
No, I appreciate it, man. And lifting has really been a huge part of my growth and development, not only as a lifter, just as a person in general, you know?
Yes, sir. Got you started into lifting.
So it's really a funny story, actually. I had gotten into some trouble. Like, I was 16 and I had gotten into some trouble. I got myself into trouble with some other friends and they were threatening to jump me. And
What?
I remember I was like freaking out. And then that night that I heard that they were gonna do that,
Yeah.
I just started doing push-ups. Like in my house, my parents' house.
16, so you were like maybe in 10th grade?
Yeah, it was a sophomore. 10th grade. But I was deathly afraid, and that kind of just led me. This jumping never happened, but
But you were prepared.
that
huh?
set the momentum for me, and I started lifting at the gym. You know, my dad hooked me up with a membership, and man, it's yeah. So that's like kind of just what started the momentum of me getting into lifting, and
So bullying, huh? So, or just the fact that there might be a chance that you have to fight some or defend yourself.
and
to
not
be
even
honest.
that, but like growing up, I was actually bullied for sure. Like when I was like when I had first come here to Georgia when I was 8 years old. So that definitely set the momentum for me to just start crushing it.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't think I ever told you that.
Nope.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like, I often tell people sometimes training, you need to train for the things that you're not prepared for.
No, absolutely, man.
Like I like what Joe Rogan says, right? When he's on like TRT,
Yeah.
he says if I ever go to a bar and some drunk guy wants to fight him,
Right.
he said, at least I know I'm on something.
Right. Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
it's like if we're gonna fight, right? And a lot of the times I think we prepare for life in the way that we do, and I think lifting weights and being healthy is along that process. Let's go, Mike.
I felt easy today. I definitely felt easy. So I have a question. So with the belt, I see you wearing the belt even with one
Yeah.
plate. Is that something new that you've been doing, or do you feel like that's something that is beneficial?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people have like two schools of thoughts.
Yeah.
Some people train beltless, some people train with a belt.
Right.
Now, this is my personal opinion,
Yeah.
but I always feel like I can get hurt picking up 100 pounds. And the first weight that we put on is already 155. So then if I spent over $300 on this belt, I might as well wear it for curls.
Use that shit. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, for sure.
Because then, when people ask me like wearing a belt, it's kind of like wearing your shoes,
Right. No.
Why
for
wear
sure.
your shoes and just take them off? But we wear them anyways, right?
Got you.
So when I wear the belt, a lot of it is just to protect my body no matter what, because, we're at a stage where I don't need to risk stuff no more.
Yeah, I mean, we're in our early 30s.
You want to load it up or
let's
you want
do
to
it.
hit this again?
No, let's do it.
So you said you got started in the gym because you're probably going to get jumped.
Yeah.
So I guess that follows up on my next question,
Yeah.
because now, again, I don't want people to, I don't want to make it seem like this is all about a race thing.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about reality.
Yeah.
And a question that I often ask is, Because again, you're American Chinese,
Yep.
right?
ABC.
You've been what, 3 generations?
Yeah, I'm actually third generation born here in America. So my family came here in 1919. My great grandpa stowed away on a boat from China, and he actually got sent back. They sent him to England 2 times. He actually made it here in the U.S. So
Back in the 1800s?
no, in 1919.
Ooh, almost. Almost.
My family's been here for over 100 years. You know,
Nice.
so like it's funny because like a lot of my buddies and like including you. I mean, my mom was not born here, obviously.
Yeah.
She's an immigrant, but a lot of my friends growing up, like they're all first generation born here. So.
Yep.
I was born in New York. My dad was born in New York, and then my grandfather and my grandmother on my dad's side were born in New York City back in '33. So it's wild.
Yeah.
It goes deep,
Man. So if you this is like your 3rd generation, so practically in your family lineage,
Yes.
it would be as if my kids had kids. So practically
Right.
your generation is the generation after my kids.
Yes.
Now, with me, being kind of like the first generation here in America,
Right.
Like a lot of the times my parents and a lot of Hmong people in general,
Yeah.
we're like trying to navigate what this world even is,
Absolutely.
because like America is just, the streets, the concrete jungles is different from the Southeast Asian jungles,
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
So then I asked, do you at this moment in your life kind of struggle a little bit too with like your identity? Because you're like, what? You're a Chinese, your origin is Chinese, but then you also lived in America, but you're not like from the old generation
Right.
where you had to be the first one to go through it.
Right.
But how does now affect you as a Chinese person and as an American, and then how you fuse that together?
No, for sure. I mean, like I've always embraced my culture. I'm very proud to be a Chinese American. And knowing my dad, as he's not your typical average Chinese dad. He's got attitude in a good way.
Yep.
He's motivating, and he's always been my solid support system. So as he raised me, he always actually used to tell me that, hey, Mike, all the flaws that I had growing up, being bullied, having racism against him, getting beat up on a daily basis as a kid, he wanted to raise me as someone who was tough, someone who was confident, someone who was ready to compete. So he really pre-framed me and made me who I am, as a kid, because, even when I was in 3rd grade, I was only 8 years old, and when I came here, I was one of the few Asian people in 3rd grade, even in Alpharetta, Georgia. Back then, there was very few Asians. So and then the big surge of Koreans and other Asians came through, and it changed my life, So,
Ooh,
all right.
okay.
Where's the belt at? I forgot about that.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, so definitely I would say that I'm not your average, Chinese kid that went to SAT prep and like school was considered to be the one and only way that I can be successful. My dad really built the foundation on just my self-character at a young age.
Yep.
And it really, really rolled over as an older adult.
Nice.
All right. How many times you hit that for? Like 3?
Just one. Nah,
Yeah?
I just hit it for one. I'm gonna hit it again. So I didn't. I'm just feeling it out. The next set, I'm gonna hit it with chalk.
Gotcha.
So first set, I hit it without chalk. If you want to add, because this is like 375. So.
Yeah. This is gonna be lightweight, baby.
Yes, sir. Yep, and then from here, we slow it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually like even when you conventional, you want to try to keep your hands close. So like even if you have one finger on the smooth,
Right.
go ahead and do that.
Good to know.
Because again, you think about like your arm being at its longest point. If your arm is like right next to you, even as a conventional puller,
Right.
Imagine if your hand shifted out this way.
Putting more
Now
stress
you're gonna,
on your-
now you're gonna look at that. Even just from that. So if my hands are here, right by my side, as a conventional lifter, I lock out here. But
Gotcha.
if I shift it out just a little bit, now I need more range to finish that lockout. So
more
when you
narrow,
pull
right.
this next one, I think I saw your hand kind of like here,
Yes.
but you had space about one finger on each side. So let's just go ahead and put one finger on the smooth
love
as
that.
a conventional lifter and just see how that looks. Okay?
I love that. No, I appreciate it. Usually I
Yep.
use straps, and I kind of like it more narrow, but I didn't actually notice that.
Yeah.
That was, I was even a thing. I was going
But
too
now
far.
it's like, efficiency not only helps you lift more weight, but efficiency also saves your back.
Yeah, no, totally.
So if you could be more efficient and people hate you for it, you must know a secret then, right?
It's a whole other conversation, yeah.
Yeah.
Back pain.
That's it.
That's our specialty.
Okay, so, wasn't typical Asian.
Yeah.
Because I would say that I'm a typical Asian because growing up, I didn't speak English at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, I was an ESOL, or I think they call it ELL now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? English learning, whatever.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But even then, I was still getting straight A's. So imagine
Wow.
that. How do you get an A in English when you can't speak the language?
Can I tell you something? I was American-born Chinese, right? But in high school, I was a straight C student. And, I always thought like, man, like I'm Asian, like aren't I supposed to be getting A's? Like, and it's not that I'm stupid, but it's the fact that I never really truly applied myself. Like the first time I actually applied myself academically was in chiropractic school and in undergrad.
Right.
And then I proved to myself, I'm like, okay, like I was never an A student, but I was definitely like a solid B student, and because in high school, I didn't really care about school. My parents, it's not like they didn't hound me on, hey, you need to study, but like I said, like it was a priority that they said, hey, Mike, you do your thing. Like as long as you're passing, like you're good. And later on in life, I realized like, wow, like work ethic is a big thing, even with lifting, right? Because you could lift and get in here and then get the reps done and leave, but like if you really want to become better and learn from it, you have to set discipline. You have to start, studying more often and create better habits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Like for me, growing up too, like I think because I've been brainwashed to believe that if you get straight A's, it makes you a smart person.
Right.
But then as history goes on, you start to see that all of the leaderships that we have in government, all C students.
The CEOs and the bosses and entrepreneurs in our life were C students, man.
Right. And then I also think back, like, now again, this is not to talk bad about my brother, but I have a brother that likes to talk a lot of trash to me about not knowing how to fix cars, right? Like maybe 10 something years ago.
Right.
And then my mom and dad used to always hassle me too, like, how come you're not smart like your brother? How come you don't know how to do these things? And I often think like, you guys know I was the straight A student, but you guys are still calling me stupid, right? So then it kind of makes me think maybe being smart has different meanings for different people.
Totally.
And I feel like when you're so zoned in on academics, you forget what makes you great.
That's so true.
What if you wasn't academically smart until you found what you wanted to study?
Yeah, I mean.
And I think a lot of Asian people, especially me and the Hmong people, when we grow up, we're always told you need to go to college, and that's the way that you change the reputation of your family.
Right,
but
right.
You're literally becoming somebody that you're not.
Yeah, no, I love that, man.
So yeah, I mean, it's nice that regardless of like the hardships that you've had in life, it's kind of nice that your parents kind of eased a little bit off.
No,
of
totally.
Because that's something that I'm doing with my kids. I was like, man, being an A student only meant I have nightmares about missing class. I don't want my kids to have nightmares about missing class like me.
And even that, like some of the smartest people I know on paper, like lack lots of common sense. They lack street smarts. Like it's not like, oh yeah, like school's the end all be all. There's so many different factors in life. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate.
Chalk up your hands, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel it the second time.
Oh yeah. Where's that?
Oh, the liquid chalk's right there. Yep.
I want to use this. Shout out to Sherman from Quest.
Yes, sir. Repping the merch.
The OG. I really like this liquid chalk. I've been using it.
Yeah, man, me too.
Often.
Commercial gyms can't complain.
Right. That's true.
Dang, that's awesome, bro.
But yeah, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But I think it's so important, us as Asian people, to kind of break out that barrier that, that we don't have to be always a doctor or a lawyer, and then if you're not, you're considered like a failure. I feel like that's so like outdated, man. Yeah.
Coming from a doctor of chiropractic,
and I'm a doctor.
Right? I know, and he's a doctor saying that.
And I chose and I decided to go this path. I was never forced to, ever.
I love it.
So, all right.
This is coming from a doctor. I'm dead, dude.
So I'm gonna go narrow.
Yes,
right?
sir. Let's go. Set up the exact same way, but just have a little bit of your hand skin, kind of touch your calf, Nice, bro.
That felt way better.
Right?
Felt way better. You can pull the slack out better too.
Yes. So, like this is the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand about like a deadlift bar. Even if you have more whip, it doesn't necessarily mean that whip is gonna help you if you don't understand that the whip is there. Because I often see a lot of people when they lift, right? Like you do a good job at pulling the slack out of the bar, and then right before they lift, it goes back down.
Gotcha.
You lost all of your tension.
Gotcha.
So then what was the point of you doing all of the stuff that you were doing before?
That's so true.
So I often just tell people that when you do pull the slack out of the bar, maintain the slack. Feel the slack, not just feel it at the beginning and then you jerk it. But what you're feeling is the length of the bar. So the deadlift bar is longer than a stiff bar.
Right.
And whenever you have a longer barbell, like imagine if I did a deadlift like right in the middle, I'll have the most amount of bend in the bar.
Yes.
So then you think if you have your hands closer at its longest point, now everybody's gonna be a little different.
Sure.
But imagine if this is my longest point and my hand is like right here, this is actually where I'm gonna create the most amount of bend in the bar. But because it's so smooth, I'm gonna drop it before I even lock it out.
Right.
So then there's a give between too much grip and efficiency, and you have to find the middle. And for me, because the deadlift bar, the knurling is shifted out just a little bit, technically the way that I have to set up is all on the smooth, but that's too much. So then I keep one pinky on the smooth because that's what actually locks in on my hook grip. So then I think I just need the pinky to get locked in, and as long as my thumbs feel nice, then I know I'm good.
See, my problem was like, when you kind of cock back and get into the lift, I was just going straight at it, even with a deadlift bar, and I feel like I lost a lot of weight on the table. I left a lot of weight on the table from doing that.
Now, again, there's two schools of thoughts. You can use the slack pull to your advantage, or you can jerk it.
Right.
But the problem with jerking is if the moment you decide to lift the bar, if the jerk doesn't work with your leg pull, then you're doing two different things.
Gotcha.
So like, that's why I often opt for like the slack pull. So like even for you, watch, right? When you're coming into your pull, okay? Right when your hips come down, your hips has to be pushing the floor, and then your hand has to be pulling.
Gotcha.
And then you pull. But again, a lot of people, sometimes, when the weights get heavy, this is often what you might do. Now, you didn't do this yet, but you might do it.
Yeah.
And again, I see a lot of people do this too, right? Where they get set really nice, and then they go, you see?
And then you lost everything.
Yeah, then you lost everything. So now you're like, imagine the moment you jerk the bar back down, now wherever the bar is coming back up, that's your actual deadlift technique. So imagine if I'm doing like all of these nice things and I'm like, all right, everything is perfect. And then you do this.
Yeah.
So that means your deadlift technique wasn't all of this nice stuff.
Right.
Your deadlift technique was this, down and back. And you hope for the best.
Right, so you're saying I should get here as I'm finding my spot, I'm finding my way.
Yeah.
I'm pushing down.
So yes, as your hip is coming down, your feet should be pushing down into the floor. And when you do that, the bar already comes up. You didn't even have to try.
I love that. Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Let's go.
Yo, throw in another red. Let's go.
Yeah, let's ask them. Where do you want to go? So this is 375.
Yeah, and then this is gonna be like
485.
485.
We can hit an in between.
Sure.
So practically, let's load up the yellow.
Okay, let's do it.
Because again, once it gets over 400, I kind of take my time a little bit.
I think the goal is, I think the last time, the heaviest I went was like 551, so it was four reds and a yellow. Yeah.
So we're one red away.
Yeah.
So we hit this, then we'll probably put like 4 reds and a white or something like that.
It's kind of scary right now, man. Deadlifts are feeling really good.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just need a break.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so 16, or should I say generation spanning back 1919. Your grandpa came over, had your dad. Your dad was technically the firstborn, but the second generation in your family to be in America.
Well,
right?
actually, so my great-grandpa came, my great-grandpa came here, and then my grandfather was born here.
Oh, my bad.
The one on my arm, yeah.
Oh, nice, nice.
And then, they settled down. They had my dad. They settled in Long Island, New York. And, my roots really are from Manhattan, Chinatown. Shout out to Elizabeth Street. Yeah.
Let's go.
But no, that's, and then,
and then it led to, you growing up in America as an American or a Chinese-born American citizen.
Yep.
You started working out when you were 16 because some sort of bullying, and then now, where would you say lifting is in your life now?
Oh my gosh, I mean, lifting is a lifestyle. Like, it's a part of my life in every way. I mean, I use it for my mind, I use it for like my soul, and then lastly, my body, obviously. But what's crazy is that I feel like most people lift just for the physical attributes. I lift for the mental, attributes, just because it feels like, everyone deals with stress a different way. And for lifting, it's like, obviously the hardest part is showing up, right? But it's beautiful because I've never left a workout saying, man, I shouldn't have done that. I always see the benefit, whether it be mentally or physically, and over the course of time, you learn about the power of discipline. You learn about the power of consistency and what that can really do, So I've used lifting as, therapy in my mind. And then at the same time, who doesn't like to be strong? Who doesn't like to look good? And it really also builds character and it builds confidence. And that really translates into, becoming a doctor, or, I worked in the restaurant for 16 years. It's just, it works in every single way, and lifting has worked in different ways in my time. Like, I remember when I was 16, I was younger, I was just worried about the strength, and I was just worried about the size, right? Because I wanted to appear that way. But now, as I got older and more experienced, through injury, through, my tribulations, I've learned like that it's more a mental thing for me than anything,
Yeah, because I remember when we first met, back in 2012 10. 10 or something like that. I know it was like at least about 14.
We've been friends for that long.
About 14, going on 15 years now. And I remember when we first got together, we were meatheads, you know what I mean? And I still feel like we're a little bit of a meathead. We just know that there's dangers to being a meathead now. Technically we're still like a gorilla for the most part. But like in the last 10 years or so, or 15, I should say, when I first met you, just like you said, lifting was just a lot of an ego thing, But then now, life has changed a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to get into the gym now. You can't be that same person that you were before, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was because of you that I really, I started deadlifting and I started kind of benching and learning about strength, and then I hit this guy up among powerlifter on YouTube. I saw this guy who went to UGA, like lifting all this weight, and I'm like, shit, I need to contact this guy. So I literally remember DMing you, and you hit me back, and you're like, yeah, like come lift. You were so like open, and you're like, yeah, come to Winder. And I realized it was an hour away. And remember me and Ryan Brooks, we pull up, and you were like Ryan the nicest Brooks, dude. Baby. And then you ended up prepping me for my first and only meet, powerlifting for Pink back in 2013, and then I freaking won.
Let's go, right?
And then now I always think, I'm like, shit, if I really stuck with it, who knows what I could have accomplished. But I have no regrets. Like, I'm still doing it. So
could have continued to train. But then you have to ask yourself, if that was the person that you kept going, we don't know what would have happened with a workout meathead that never stopped. So then the question that I ask you now would be, are you happy with who you are right now and where you are at in your lifting journey?
I really am. Then
I think everything that you did was exactly what you needed, because you would have never became this strong if you didn't take that break.
That's true. No, for sure.
Yeah, because a lot of the times people don't realize that you just need to feel bad sometimes to know it feels good.
Let's watch this. Hit it for a double, or you think I should hit it for
up to you.
Yeah, we'll see how it feels.
Yeah, I mean, I always just hit it for a 1, and when I hit it for the 1, I was like, oh, that felt really good. So then maybe I can go for the number 2. You only do it if it's gonna be easy, and if we're warming up to like a heavy weight, and this isn't the top set yet, if you do more than 1 rep, just tap and go. There you go. Hands close in. Nice and locked.
And then the wedge.
Yeah.
Pulling.
Yes, sir. Woo-hoo.
Felt good.
See, right when you pull the wedge, right when you hear that little click, the slack is already pulled. From there, if you wanted to jerk, fair game. Because then the slack is not going back down.
For sure. No, I felt
You don't want to pull the bar when the slack is going back down. do a small increase and it also feels bad, then you know, like, all right, this is where I'm starting to see my ceiling, and this is going to be my top set for today.
No.
If my best pull is 655, but this feels like a tank,
Yeah.
quote unquote, an RPE 7 would be like what? 585?
Yeah. Yeah.
485 already feels like an RPE 9.
For
Why
sure.
should I increase, you know?
Yeah.
But just to kind of give you an idea,
No, for sure. Let's do it.
just throw the 5 over it. You want to, again, visualize you doing this weight like a lot of times. And so let's kind of go back to our conversation earlier, you know? Like when you think about adversity, right? The toughness that it was growing up as a Chinese-born American,
Yeah.
or like, you know, Asian American or a minority. I mean, you can even be American yourself, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
whatever struggles that you have through. I tend to try to think about that and manifest it in the weights. You start feeling the toughness of the weight.
Right.
Then I start thinking, when was it in my life that I felt like this? You know, and then I often think back to some of the times that, you know, I had a lot of negative thoughts or a lot of negative feedback from people.
Oh, yeah.
And then I always tell myself, if I can lift it, then that's me lifting that thought away.
You can handle it. Exactly.
You know, you were saying that you went to school, but you didn't know, you were a solid B student.
Right.
And you didn't know what you really wanted to do until you became older. So what made you swap into going back into chiropractic school?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question. We always had a chiropractic table in the house growing up, and you know, as a younger kid, I always used to get injured. I was a basketball player, you know, I used to just mess around and always injure myself, you know, and when I watch my dad, you know, heal people at the office, and also with him just working on me throughout growing up, I was like, man, like this is so cool because all you need are your hands, you know? And that really set the tone. I think I wanted to become a chiropractor at like beautiful. I must have been like 13 or 14 years old when I already knew. You know what I mean? So even before like that whole bullying thing, like I saw the value in it, you know?
So when you were 13 or 14, like even before you started working out, like somewhere in your head, you knew that eventually you were going to lead to being a chiropractor.
It was like, it wasn't like definite, but I was always intrigued and I always wanted to, you know, to be somewhere in the healthcare field and chiropractic.
Yeah.
And, that's ended up what happened, man. You know?
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, let's hit this set. Yep. Hold the slack. Yep, finish. Lock. Down.
Fuck.
All good, bro. It's 500 pounds.
Good God.
5 months with no break.
Yeah,
I mean, with no lifting.
I'll take you.
So, my follow-up question is, after you went through all the things that you went through, you went from a 13 to 14-year-old to a 30-year-old. So it took you about maybe 16 years, man. 16 seems to be like a number for you. But let's say it took you 16 years to get yourself to where you are right now. During the process of you working at the restaurant and going into being a chiropractor, what do you feel like was the hardest thing in you reaching that goal?
Partying, man.
Partying?
Yeah, and the environment. Like I'll tell you like restaurant is one of the most toxic environments you've ever come across. And surprisingly, my first restaurant job, I was 16. I was working at this French bistro, and it was a really old school. Have you seen the movie Waiting?
Yes.
Dude, it was literally like, it was vibes like that. Like the kitchen was crazy. Like everyone was just like wild, you know? And as, you know, I progressed through life, I realized like, wow, you know, alcohol definitely runs like deep in my family, you know, mostly negative stuff, you know? And I realized that, wow, I'm one of those Asians that can drink and I don't get red, right? So like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah. You know, and like the typical Asian gets Asian glow, like they have to take like a Pepsid or whatever, like to, you know, and that's never been a thing. So I've always been a very like heavy hitter in that sense. So as you get older, you know, when you get deeper and more advanced, when you start working at higher quality level jobs, you know, such as like the steakhouses or like, you know, You start going to Buckhead. Like the environment, man, is it's bad, you know. And I caught myself kind of just in that cycle of wanting to get into school or finish school at that time. And you know, I'm also working full time at the restaurant, and it was just very hard transition for me to walk away and go full on. And just these past 2 years, man, I've gone full in onto my passion in chiropractic, and it's the best decision I ever made in my life. I think for me, leaving the restaurant was something that was one of the hardest things for me, just because, you know, who doesn't like making $400, $500, $600 a night, right? But what happens is just made me develop a little bit bad habits, and I had to take the leap of faith and go with my heart, and I left.
So during the time, you know, when you were saying like bad habits,
Yeah.
during the time, were they bad habits?
It was normalized for sure. Like it was like but now that I look back, I mean, they were terrible habits. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and rat myself out, but I mean, let's just say like I put myself in many numerous bad situations.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, the only person who I had to blame is myself. You know what I mean? So I take full responsibility for all that. And that's
so was it because like you just felt comfortable? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I was
like
so good.
You just got comfortable, right?
Dude, I was so good like at my job. You know, and honestly, if it wasn't for the restaurant, I think I wouldn't be as good as a communicator as I am in regards to just talking to people and being comfortable around just, you know, day-to-day conversations, you know, whether that be selling, whether that be, you know, catching up in general. Like it really developed my skill for that. So, you know, I'm not saying I regret the restaurant. I think I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I literally wouldn't change a damn thing. Like, but it's just crazy how things work out like that, you know?
Yeah.
It saved my life. I mean, me leaving, if I would have, I mean, I easily could have just stayed for the rest of my life and just been comfortable and never really pursued my dream of chiropractic. And I didn't want to be known as that guy. I don't want to be known as fake. I don't want to pretend like, oh yeah, I'm a chiropractor, but I'm also a full-time server. Like, I don't want to do that. No, you know, and so, yeah.
So it took you a little while, but you had to bask in that lifestyle for so long until you're just like, is this truly who I want to be?
Right, exactly. And no, I don't want to do it anymore. And I thank God every day that I am where I'm at, and my head is where it's at.
Nice.
Yeah. Come on. Lightweight. Easy. Whew. Nice job.
The floor.
Yeah,
I
saw that. It's gonna freaking make you do a split. That's kind of dangerous, huh? Yeah.
Now this is just an observation and like an opinion, and I could be wrong, right? But what I've noticed is that I like breathing at the top 1,000 times better than at the bottom, okay? Now check this out. Imagine I'm breathing like this, okay? So I'm gonna move it up, that way we get the highest point. Okay. So like when you are breathing at the top like this, watch the tension that I create.
Got it.
Right?
I see what you're saying.
Now watch me when I breathe at the bottom. I feel like because I'm taking that breath at the top and then I'm creating tension, when I release that tension just a little bit, the thing is my legs and my lower body is set already.
Right.
But when you set at the bottom, you see how like I have to relax?
You're kind of loose. Yeah.
I have to relax. And then now I'm forced to get into a good position with this much space versus this much space. So like I think when you breathe at the top, it's like if you have like an imaginary box.
Right.
When you set up at the bottom, you're squeezing yourself and you're trying to get like this little small breath at the bottom. But when you're standing, the volume of the box is bigger and you can create more tension in that way.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
You know, just my opinion.
No. That was, and I see you do that, you know, when you're lifting, 600, you go, and then you breathe again,
Yep.
and then you go down.
Breathe
So,
at the
yeah.
top.
Okay.
It's a little weird.
Okay, so let me see.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but if it feels good, then you'll know.
All right.
So set up just like before and just do it for 2.
Yeah.
You could probably smoke it for 5, but hypothetically.
Straps on this.
Yeah, exactly. Hypothetically, if you hit this for 2 and it feels good, and we load up the red again, 4 reds, and you repeat that technique and it feels good.
Yeah.
What if it was your breathing style the whole time too? We don't know.
Okay.
The only way to know is to test it.
So.
Yep. Yes. Hip. Yes. Yes. There you go.
Bro, that first rep was so easy.
It just feels different because again,
yeah.
you're creating tension on the way down.
Felt good. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's 2 things right there. Keep the hands close. Breathe at the top.
Sheesh.
Does it make a difference? You would only know if you keep
Would you
training.
do that in competition too?
Yes.
I noticed that because it's kind of like you're holding your breath and then when you go down, but it just flies.
Yeah.
So
even check this out. Like when I breathe at the top, I'm passing out sometimes.
that's how I kind of feel.
Yeah.
I almost felt like that.
That's why I was telling you, like when you breathe, you should already be kind of going on the way down.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically you took like 7 seconds to take that breath and then go down. If you know that 8 to 9 is where you pass out, then you want to hit this within 5 to 6. Right. So that's why like when you watch, this is if I breathe up like this, like I like this breath the best.
Got it.
But that 2 seconds is the difference between me doing that, So then I have to ask myself, how do I cut that time?
Right.
So now it's what? Get everything set. As I'm breathing, I'm already going down, like that. So imagine how small of a difference in technique that is. If you're not a specialist on lifting, you wouldn't have noticed those changes.
Yeah.
Imagine you just thought I breathed at the top, but I'm not breathing at the top.
Yeah.
I'm breathing at the top as I'm already working my way down. Because if you just breathe at the top, you might pass out.
I've never felt like that, but during my second rep, I was like, oh, what the fuck?
But when you hit it though, the first rep,
it
super
flew.
easy.
It flew, yeah.
So that's why, like, if you do lock it out, like if you want that breathing to feel less, like you're gonna pass out right when you hold it at the top,
Gotcha.
breathe out and kind of rest a little bit and let your body recatch the oxygen. 5 reds look good, but 600 sounds better.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, right there, yep.
God damn.
Get to this level, once you accomplish your level, even if you fail in the future, it doesn't take away from your level,
Right. Right.
But it goes to show you how tough it is to stay at your level.
Yeah.
And I think people always think like, all right, because you're training, you always have to get better. You don't always have to get better, but you have to learn something. There's a difference, You have to learn that in order for me to deadlift 600 pounds on a regular basis, I have to sleep a certain amount. I have to eat a certain amount. I have to do mobility a certain amount. And when everything is right, 600 is not even the problem.
Right.
650 now. But if I don't do those 3 things, this is a problem. Something that I could do for 10 reps,
Yeah, this is heavy.
Imagine that. That's the thing that I think comes with, technical lifters and people who has to figure out techniques or a method to pick up the weight.
You need some Waka Flocka?
Little John, bro.
Yeah, that dude's crazy.
The music is in my head.
Come on. Let's get it.
I don't have baby powder neither, so the lockout's gonna be funky.
Come on, James. Oh. Woo.
Woo! We're good. There's no way this weight is harder than becoming a doctor. Come on. Tight. Yep. Down. The bar drifted a little bit away.
A little bit this way, right?
You take a half step forward. Maybe just a little bit more forward. Your next set, that's where you need to be.
Gotcha.
Everything else is perfect though.
Gotcha.
So that little weird feeling that you felt at the beginning, if you watch your video, it was too far away, and then when the bar came into you, boom, it came up.
I caught myself with the grip. I almost went wide again. So.
More heavy duty wrist wraps than the Inzers.
Right.
Mainly just because they're longer, right? All right, but you know how like you have a wrist loop?
Yeah.
Now these, the A7s, they have a wrist loop and a thumb loop. So I like that I can keep this in my thumb or my wrist like this and then use the thumb loop to help me torque, okay? Now those, you're gonna have to figure out a way to pull it. So like this, you have to like take that and find the way that you can really torque it when you need it, okay?
Yeah.
So from there, you know, it's kind of like supposedly for powerlifting. Now, if you're not planning to compete, you don't have to worry about this line right here.
Okay.
But if you are competing, then you want to be aware that you can't put it too high up your wrist.
Got it.
So usually, again, what I do is I set it high in the back, okay? So I start off high in the back, and then I come across low.
So high in the back.
To protect the back of the wrist, right? And then I kind of come down low a little bit, and then it's right under the wrist, okay?
So kind of like.
Yeah. So practically, because it's illegal to have it high up on the palm, I have it high up on the back, but then low in the front.
Dude, so you know how you said like you got to stretch at the beginning?
Yeah.
I was never doing that.
Yeah, so you're missing out a little bit on, what is it? You're missing out a little bit on, or not control, but your wrist.
Yeah.
So, literally, you know, the steps that I've been really practicing is the two-step setup, okay?
Yeah.
So practically, you just want to get yourself into the best position possible, but then you set up again when the weight is on top of you, okay? Now, this is really hard to do when you are equipped, but it's a lot easier to do when you're raw, okay? So practically, you just set up the best that you can. You know, obviously, you want your feet planted on the ground. You want to set your butt on. You want your upper back flexed, okay? Now, you can only do this to your best ability with the weight on the rack, okay?
Right.
So this is as tight as I can get. In the federation that I'm competing at, my feet has to be flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my feet up. Right here is where I feel like I have connection with the floor. You see that?
Yeah.
Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the connection of the floor and I'm gonna push myself. You see how like I slid a little bit?
Yeah.
So that means if I leg drive, my upper back wasn't completely set. So once my upper back is set in this position, my butt is still up, and what I'm gonna do is I like the way my back feels right now.
Right.
So I'm gonna inch it back down.
Okay.
Towards my butt.
Damn.
Okay? And then what I'm gonna do again is I'm gonna slide my butt up again. Now I have a high arch, but I don't have the best leg drive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna slide my feet forward a little bit. And then from here, I'm gonna dig again, and this is the point where I lift off. So you see, once I pick it up, I'm flat.
Right.
I take a deep breath, chest up. All right.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful.
So the second reset is that second rep where once you get set and you're nice and tight, you almost want to relax a little bit. And then when you take that breath or when you're ready to go, boom, you lift your chest back up and then you push your feet into the floor.
Gotcha, okay.
So do everything that you're doing before, but the only difference in your technique today is that when I pick up the weight, I want you to reflex your shoulder blades and try to kiss the bar. Okay. Try to kiss the bar with your chest. All right, right here, reflex your shoulder blades. Yeah, every time you need to do that. Yep. Yep.
Good. Cool.
All right, so again, the biggest, most crucial point of the technique, I think, is the second reset. I think the second reset like really plays a big role on range of motion and really flexing your body. But you know, again, it doesn't matter if you know this. You know, you have to like practice it because you know, understanding the theory is different from applying.
It's not enough. Yeah.
But I see some of the best Japanese benchers do it, and I don't know. I feel like I've been doing it, but not to the extent that they are. So like I'm still, again, you know, after freaking 20 years trying to figure out how to freaking do this.
Right,
you know?
right. No, for sure.
And the guys that I'm following have been doing it for 40 years. So you're like,
Wow.
they are double my experience.
Bench.
Okay. And also, again, right? So I'm torquing my wrist in. I'm trying to learn that Japanese grip.
So it's like this way, really. It's like
Yeah, so practically you're doing this.
you're doing the opposite of what.
You're doing a suicide grip, but with your thumb around the bar. But you can only do the suicide grip if you torque your wrist externally. So now it's like your
So this is
your
internal
pinky up.
also. Got it.
Think of it as pinky up. So you see how like I'm grabbing the bar like normal, okay? I'm gonna set myself, same thing. I'm gonna work my feet until I feel grip on the floor. Then I'm gonna drive. So this is a good spot where my back is at. I'm gonna drop, push my feet out just a little bit, and then kind of inch my way back. So this is kind of like the deadlift.
You're right on your traps, pretty much.
Yeah, you're wedging your upper back and your lower back together. See right here, I feel like I have a good leg drive. I feel my butt on the bench, right? From here, I'm gonna torque my wrist in. See that?
Yeah.
So I'm not holding it like this, I'm holding it like that.
Got it.
Now I'm holding it with my pinky up, and then I'm gonna drive again.
Nice.
All right.
Very nice.
Yo.
Dude, so what got you into lifting, man? You know, I feel like that's always gonna be a huge story.
Solid.
Okay, so
Okay. Slowly letting go. Chest up. Yeah. Press.
got it.
Nice. For raw, we don't have that support. The only support we have is our pec.
Yeah.
So the way that you actually want to do the internal rotation now is not rely on your elbows tucking in. You actually want to flare it out. You want to think of this kind of like a barbell row now. So you don't row like this. I mean, you could, right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing an actual row, or if you're bench pressing, a lot of the times you're going to be bringing it like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Pinky up.
And you want to keep your elbows and your wrists lined up when you hit your chest, right?
Right.
All you're really doing is a barbell row in this position, right? So imagine if I'm doing this and I'm bringing a barbell row here.
It's like an inverted barbell row.
Exactly.
Yeah. Got it. Cool.
So then you also think of it in the reverse way now. You know, when you do a barbell row, apply the barbell row concept to your bench. So when you do a barbell row, I want you to think of it as an inverted bench, not a barbell row.
Gotcha.
Then when you do the barbell row, it applies to your bench.
That makes sense. Very cool.
But you know, when I think back to my life too, that's where the training really helped. So I remember like when working out became something different. And it was back when I was in 9th grade. And, you know, I've been working out for a couple of years already.
Yeah.
You know, my brother, again, makes fun of me for being weak all the time.
Yeah.
But I wrestled, and then I got caught with staph infection on my chin.
Damn.
And the staph infection, like, messed up my skin.
Yeah.
So, like, if people actually pay attention to my face, one day I got a matte burn down here, and then boom, it became like some yellow, kind of a, like, gigantic piece of scab. And then from there, you know, every time I wrestle, I would bleed a little bit, okay? And then I would tell my coach, hey, I'm bleeding. And he says, just wipe it off. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So then I wiped off the blood and I wrestled. The next day, it shifted over to the left side.
Oh my.
And then I'm like, all right, maybe I need to stop because now when I eat, I'm bleeding. The moment I open my jaw, it spreads the scab and then I start bleeding.
Damn.
And then it went from the bottom of the jaw all the way around my face.
Wow.
So then I went to the dermatologist.
Yeah.
And they put me on Accutane. At the time, it was like really, really strong.
Is
And
that like for like hair? Accutane?
maybe.
Okay, yeah.
I just know Accutane is supposedly the strongest acne medicine that they had.
Gotcha.
They also gave me an ointment and they gave me antibacterial.
Wow.
So imagine I was on an
fucked
oral,
up, dude.
I was on a cream, and I was on, you know, as many things as they can put me on. And I wasn't supposed to take that stuff because they recommended for 16 plus, and I was only 14.
Wow.
So they said, if I get on this medicine, there's a good chance that I might have negative thoughts and very suicidal feelings.
Right.
And the funny thing is, every day, the person that would make me feel like I want to kill myself was my brother.
Right.
Because he would go around calling me Pizza Face, Freddy Krueger, and he would tell all of his friends not to be friends with me because I'm a really weird kid. Huh?
Jeez, man.
So then I started working out.
Yeah.
And my goal during the time was to be stronger than my brother.
Yeah.
Because if I become stronger than him, then he can't tell people that I'm too weak to hang out with him.
Right.
So, funny story. My brother stopped working out when he became a junior. So that was 1.5 years of me training. And I remember this day like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, he was like in his junior year, going into his senior year, my sophomore year, going into my junior year. And he slowly stopped working out. Still strong, still bench about 200, but he got into cars. Him and his boy came over, and his boy was talking shit to him about how you talk shit about your little brother all the time. He's pretty strong, you know? They were watching me work out. He loaded up 2 plates and he missed. And I fucking smashed that shit. And I knew that was the end of my brother's bullying.
Right. Let me know when you're ready.
Yep. All right. 3, 2, 1, up.
Good.
See how flared out my elbows are?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch them too
I
much.
knew it was like completely opposite than what I learned because I'm like, this doesn't. So you actually feel the weight out here.
Yeah.
I always kept thinking you have to feel it here.
Yep. So before, right, I guess to give you a reference, like my hand, when you grab the bar, it sits in your palm like right in the middle.
Yeah.
But when you rotate it inwards, now it's at the fat part of your thumb. So I guess the way that I like to think of it is when you squat and when you bench, you want the bar deep into your hand. So where do you feel the bar deepest in your hand? So when I squat, it's kind of like in the middle, underneath the thumb.
Right.
So if you look, what is this? This is my bench grip.
Yeah.
Because the weight is coming into my hand. When you squat, the weight is coming into your hand. When you bench, the weight is coming into your hand.
Right.
When you deadlift, you want the bar to be deep in your fingers.
Gotcha.
A lot of people try to deadlift, like really get a good grip into the deadlift, and it's deep into their palm. But how strong do you think these 5 fingers are the moment you have 300, 400, 500, 800 pounds on? It's gonna pull it down. You don't want the bar on a deadlift to pull your hand down. Might as well put it at the lowest point. If the bar is already gonna slip into the lowest point of your hand, why not just put it there?
It's like opposite from bench.
Because you rather have it that it's already at its lowest point. So if you drop it because you can't hold on.
Right.
You don't want it to be in the palm, and then the moment 500 comes off the floor, it drops into your hand, and then you're gonna drop because you're afraid of the weight. You know?
Interesting.
You know, again, at the end of the day, you know, I'm, as much as like me and him bash heads and, you know, we kind of don't really see eye to eye a lot of the times.
Still to this day, right?
Still my brother.
Yeah.
You know, if it wasn't for his bullying, I wouldn't be who I am now. Dude. So to a degree, I'm kind of thankful for it.
Isn't that crazy?
But I hate him for it too.
Isn't that crazy how that shit works?
Yeah, man. And then, yeah, from there, I just never stopped because I think, you know, no one wanted to hang out with me until I became strong, you know?
Yeah.
And then again, what was it really? All I really did was focused on myself. I wanted to be better than what my brother told me I was. And then all of a sudden, I met you.
Right.
Then I met Xiao. And then everybody just came together, huh? All right, squeeze the bar, pinky up, flare out the elbows a little bit.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Up, out. Slowly letting go. Yeah, what? Flare. Tell me that don't feel good.
Yeah, that was good.
Tell me that don't feel good.
Even after deadlifts too. It's like,
Bro, see? See,
Yeah.
and again, is it really flare though? So the question that I have to ask is, to me, this is extreme tuck,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That just kind of feels and looks awkward, you know?
Yeah.
Bodybuilders, when they bench, they don't arch, right? So obviously, if you don't arch and you're freaking coming like this, right? That's gonna be awkward.
For your
right?
shoulders, anterior delt, all that.
But is this position stronger if you stop here? What if you only came here, right?
Right.
So if your elbows at a flared position is strong, maybe I should meet the bar there.
Yeah.
Because if I go any lower, or my chest is lower, what do I have to do? I have to tuck my elbows to bring it to my chest. But because we are lifters and we're trying to use our whole body, we have the room to utilize the elbow flare to our advantage, right? And again, even when you look at it here, I'm not out here.
Exactly.
This is 90.
Right.
I still feel like I'm at a 45-degree angle when I flare my elbows.
Got it.
You know, for me, I think my siblings, you know, to a degree, like my two older brothers,
Yeah.
they were like 4 to 5 years older than me. So like, I didn't really have that negative or positive relationship like I had with my brother, my third oldest brother. I felt like, you know, we were more distant until I became older with my two older ones. You know, it wasn't until like I became a man myself that maybe my two oldest brothers kind of started talking to me a little different. But, you know, on that end, I felt like there's some good and then there's some negatives, you know?
Yeah.
And then for you, I guess, how did you grow up in your situation? Because I know, you know, you and me, we kind of consider each other brothers already.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know like to a degree, someone like me and some of your other friends has been able to fill that role.
Absolutely.
But growing up, doing everything on your own, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, being an only child, man, was definitely a weird thing. You know, my parents ended up getting me my first dog, so that was pretty much like my first dog checker. And then, you know, I met you at a young age. I think we were what, like, our
19? 19? I think I was 19.
We were 19 or 20 years old, man. And you know, even though we're around the same age, I think I'm only a year older.
Yep.
You always seemed like you were more like what's the word, like
Mature?
yeah, more mature, and then you're like a sensei, dude. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
it's
feel like you learn a lot when you're homeless.
Dude, and what's crazy is I had no idea that was the situation.
Yeah, because when you first met me and you came into John Vang's house, remember, in Bethlehem near my high school?
Right.
Yeah, that was actually, again, us working out like maybe a year in when my parents went through their little struggle.
Sure.
And then they kind of left me behind, you know? And again, you think about it like as the first generation of Hmong people growing up in America, right? Imagine if all you knew your entire life was that if you don't get good grades, you're gonna fail in life. So when my mom and dad left, that philosophy stayed with me. Okay, just because they left, what am I doing right now?
Right.
I'm at UGA. I'm at one of the hardest schools to get into in Georgia.
Yeah.
During the time, I asked myself, I was like, well, I'm at like the first year at UGA. My parents aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do?
Right.
Oh, can you lower this one?
Yes. Oh, is it? Oh yeah. Shit.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, well, I have to go to school, right? At least that's all I know. But then if I leave to Minnesota or Wisconsin or to be with my family, I would have to start all over. I literally just got accepted to a good school. Can I do the same in another state right off the bat?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
That's why Xiao came into play. Because I knew how to work out and I knew how to help him lose weight.
Right.
It gave me a home.
Big Xiao. Wow.
And that's how I was able to go to UGA for the next 4 years.
Right.
Trying to figure out what not to be. Isn't that funny?
Right.
I went to 4 years in UGA. I'm at $70,000 in debt. And it was worth it because it let me know what I wanted to do in life.
I love that. Come on, let's go, James. Let me know when.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Up.
Come on. Up. Push.
One more. Stay close.
Push, 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 push. Nice.
Keep everything the same, nice and tight. When you set up your arch, just remember to bring your chest up. If you have room to bring your chest up, bring it up.
Okay.
Wow, unexpected good bench day for me.
All right.
Let's go. Yup. Squeeze. I'm right here.
All right, on 3.
Set your set.
1, 2, 3.
Up, out. Slowly letting go. Drive. Back. Nice. Tight. Yeah, back to me. Up, back to me.
Got
You
it.
got it.
No, not a
Okay. I was like, you about to do 3?
I actually have hit this for 3 before, but that was much easier than the first time I've tried it.
I like that you only did 2.
Yeah, I think
even
I
though
felt
you know
good.
you could have done more.
Yeah.
We hit a heavy weight, so let's not risk it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you're learning new technique.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? If you can already hit your top weight for almost 3 reps
Right.
with new technique, what do you think the new technique is gonna be like if you do this for 3 months?
Great.
It'll be 360, bro.
Shit. I mean, I'm gonna hit 350 this year.
All right. Now that you're benching like that,
Yeah.
where do you feel your strength at? See, like before, maybe you wasn't benching with the elbows flared.
This incorporates my chest a lot more. You know?
And I also feel like what it does is it makes you focus on your biceps more. So now it's not just the triceps pushing. I feel like a lot of the control is from my bicep. So now I'm not only training triceps, but I have to
Yeah.
focus on the grip and the bicep when I squeeze the bar.
Fuck, dude. Good shit, man.
Good shit, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, any last things you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, man. So what's your life goal, man? What's 2 top life goals, whether it be life or lifting or family, for you in the next year?
The two goals?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think number 1 is practically just to make sure that my kids are growing well. Now, I don't think this is going to be just a this year kind of a goal. That's almost like the rest of my life kind of a goal.
Right.
To make sure that my kids and all the things that they do
Yes.
is good and they don't mentally struggle.
Right.
And then the second thing is it aids number 2. So, like for me, I've been a power lifter for like 15 years now, This is like my 15-year anniversary.
That's
Because
impressive.
I started when I started in 2000 and, 14-year anniversary, but I started I think in 2010. Right now it's 2024.
Wow.
So I've been competing for about 14 years, and I think in order to supplement my kids and their and what I think is important for them,
Right.
is by giving my kids and other people opportunities.
Okay.
So now, because of that, I'm going more into like the festival stuff. So that's why, like, my wife, the business owner of Myriaded Events.
Yeah.
She's throwing the Southeast Asian Festival where we're giving a little bit more shine to the minority demographics in Georgia.
Right.
And within that community, I really want to push and host more lifting events.
Yeah.
Educate people and our kids. So like when I die, I know that I'm leaving them wisdom and knowledge that can help them with their struggles.
Absolutely.
See, because you were saying that when you were 16 and you trained, right?
Yeah.
It helped you overcome the trauma of you possibly getting jumped.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you get stronger, it helps you push a little bit more along the way,
I still think about that shit.
right?
Yeah.
So then you think about a kid who maybe didn't grow up in our age, right? And you think about a kid who don't have the same grit, the same endurance that we do. How do we give them our endurance and our strength?
by showing them how to be a confident, individual, I guess.
Yeah, man. I mean, just by, I often say, live by example.
Right, right.
My parents used to always tell me, do what I say, not what I do.
That sounds like,
Right?
my dad.
So if your dad has said that before,
Yeah.
then it kind of makes me think, if this is the way that we grew up, and if we want our kids to grow better, maybe it shouldn't just be do what I say, not what I do. Maybe it's do what I say because I do it too.
Right.
And then you add one little philosophy on top of their philosophy. How does that then make our kids grow up? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do know if I don't do anything, we're going to continue to see the rise in men's mental health.
Yeah.
Because again, like last month, there's been like a string of 19 to 25-year-olds that have been popping themselves off.
Really?
In the Hmong community, yeah. So
What's
people
with
think
that, dude? That's crazy.
well, a lot of it, for me, the reason is because imagine your lifespan, okay?
Yeah.
You said that your great grandpa came into America back in the 1920s, right?
Right.
You guys had all of that time to this point to learn this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about all of the American Africans and all the other minorities that had to go through theirs from 1920 to 2000s.
Yeah.
That's like civil rights movement right there. See, Hmong people, we came into that.
The Chinese Exclusion Act was going on in the city. Chinese people couldn't access the same water fountains, and we couldn't open businesses, and we were only meant to either do laundry or restaurant.
So imagine a kid growing up today that has to live through that.
Yeah, it's
You can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
Because now it's like the way basketball is right now. You know how we always complain about the 80s, about how people used to get beat up all the time in
Yeah.
basketball in the 80s, and that
Yeah.
these kids today couldn't handle that? So it's literally the same thing. We are 1980s mindset making fun of the new generation for not taking a beating while they're playing basketball. And then as they're playing basketball, we're telling them that they can't be great because they didn't take the punch in the face like the way we did.
Right.
So even though they are the best in the world, because they didn't take that punch in the face, you will never be as good as me.
Right.
So I feel like Hmong people, because we've only lived in America for 49 years, we had to learn 400 to 500 years of history
Generations, yeah.
within 40 something years.
You had to learn 3 generations in 40 years.
Right?
Yeah.
So then, but the kids nowadays, because they didn't go through the struggles that maybe we went through, or maybe we didn't have that bulletproof vest that our parents kind of gave us going into our life, and these kids now don't have their mom and dad because they can't speak English, and their uncles and us, we make fun of them for being soft. What do you think these kids are gonna do? They don't have nowhere to express themselves, because if you're a kid playing video games, which is probably 95% of all kids now, you're being told that you're an idiot all day long. Don't play games. Be smart. Be a kid that goes to school and get good grades.
There's so much,
right?
There's so much shit, man.
So I personally just feel like it's the communication and the knowledge gap. And the beautiful thing about America is that they taught us how to live our life.
Right.
But because the younger generation didn't go through the hell that we went through, we are expecting them to have the same bulletproof vest that we do, and that's just not fair.
That's not fair. Yeah. No, I feel that.
Yeah, it's kind of like your dad telling you that.
Hey,
you're soft.
I had a tough childhood. You should too.
Yeah.
And I'm
it's the same thing.
what the fuck you mean? Isn't the whole reason we came here to have a better life?
Dude, that's exactly what I said. I said the same thing. I'm like, dude, we always talk about how these kids are soft, but I'm like, bro, wasn't the whole purpose of all of our struggle and all of our problems to create this generation with no trauma?
And then you're gonna gaslight me and be like, yo, I had it, you've had an easy life, and then make me feel bad about it. And I'm like,
you're lucky. So at the end of the day, it's not about what you go through. It's about what you learn.
yeah.
And if you don't have to go through the Vietnam War to learn,
Why would you?
Why would you?
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, bro. I'm gonna wash
why
my
can't I
hands.
just be as wise as you, but without having to go through war? Isn't that what you wanted for your kid? Isn't that what the people that died for us to be here, all they wanted us was to survive.
Yeah.
And now that we survived, now you're gonna be mad at me because I survived?
Have all these extra that's, what it really is. It goes back to just the people's own insecurities and own issues that they need to deal with, and they project it to to other people.
And when you project it to a child that don't have your knowledge, what do you think is gonna happen after 19 years, 18 years of that?
The child's just kind of lost, you know.
They have, two options. They either grow up and become a badass, or they hate their life so much that they don't want it no more.
Hey,
That's my opinion, okay? Just my opinion. With the Hmong community.
James, today was pretty epic, man.
Yeah, today was epic, dude.
Long overdue, my friend.
Now it's time to gain weight, because
Yeah.
I know I'm too skinny.
14 years of friendship right here, man.
Let's go, baby. 14 and to 80 more, all right? All right. We out for now. Peace. Bam.